Why would a novel like Best Served Cold find enough readership in Nigeria?
I thought so because I still do think so, because the story is largely set in Nigeria, although it kind of goes through different countries. It's a storyline that I think virtually every Nigerian can relate to. I think it will also have it'll have a resonance with the expatriate Nigerian community, the so-called diaspora, because a lot of them, I think, can identify with Mike, that whole concept about wanting to return. So it was written to really straddle both the indigenous, if I can use that word, Nigerian readership, but also the Nigerian readership in the diaspora. And I think that a lot of people will find it interesting.
Fiction books have a unique way of framing culture and defining perceptions. Being a diasporan, we couldn't help but ask if Akinkunmi had a plan to influence how his native country is perceived. Your book is largely set in Nigeria, even though there's the American angle to it and the United Kingdom angle to it, but largely set in Nigeria. Did you have anything in mind, particularly with regards to how you wanted readers to perceive Nigeria as a country?
Absolutely. And that is why, I mean, the critical thing here is that it demonstrates that the Nigeria security services, particularly the police forces and all of that, have a very bad reputation. But I wanted to kind of really sell the idea that even within what is perceived as a fairly or unfairly, as a largely corrupt and unprincipled organization, there still remain people who are not just principled, but actually very competent at what they do. And that was the message I really wanted to send home. Alhaji was savoring the cool air from the air conditioner in the living room of his pied-à-terre in Ikoyi. The three-bedroom flat appeared on his company records as an annex to the head office. In reality, however, it was the venue for his and his associates' numerous assignations with a variety of women, one of whom he'd just gotten rid of after a somewhat energetic session. He stretched his legs on the sofa and took another sip from his beer. It had been an interesting diversion, but it was time to get back to the real world. He picked up his phone and called downstairs to his driver to get the car ready. A few minutes later, he was in the car, heading for the mainland through the Lagos afternoon traffic. Preoccupied with his newspaper, neither he nor his driver took much notice of the grey Volkswagen Passat that was following a few cars behind them. Both cars crawled across the third mainland bridge to Antoni village. Alhaji's driver turned off into the entrance to the estate he lived in. Again, he failed to notice a nondescript Toyota that was parked just inside the estate, behind an SUV with tinted windows. The two men in the front of the Passat swung across the turning to the estate and blocked it, just as the Toyota swung out abruptly and blocked Alhaji's car, which was now neatly boxed in. Too late, Alhaji's driver realized what was going on. Instinctively, he threw the car into reverse, but was blocked by the Passat. Four men in dark clothing, with their faces obscured, emerged and swung into the action. One smashed the driver's window with an iron bar, immediately followed by another who reached in and opened the driver's door. As he did so, the first man dropped the iron bar and leveled a pistol at the head of the driver. Simultaneously, the other two men wrenched open the back doors, roughly tossed Alhaji from the car, cuffed him and gagged him and threw him into the back of the SUV with the dark windows. The whole thing was over in less than a minute, and the attackers were on their way with their prey shortly after. About an hour later, Alhaji was led from the vehicle. During the journey, his captors had not said a word, but had thrown a bag over his head so he could not see as well as not speak. He was helped across some soft ground and into a building. Silently, he was guided to a chair to which he was gently but securely fastened. A very powerful light came on, shining directly into his eyes, and the bag over his head removed, blinding him. At the same time, a gag was removed. From somewhere behind the light came a voice with a thick accent. "I'm very sorry that you have been brought here like this, Alhaji, but it was very important that you come. I will keep this brief. Your friend, big man, His Excellency the Governor, is a criminal who is deeply implicated in a case of mass murder. We know all about your arrangement in the port's privatization matter, And believe me, it would be child's play to rope you in on the murder as well. Big man may have immunity, but you do not. In order to avoid that, we need your help to remove his immunity. You will therefore use your extensive connections and huge wealth to buy off the deputy governor and a majority of the House of Assembly and arrange for the governor to be impeached. We will provide the evidence for the case against him. If you agree to cooperate, we will say nothing about the murder case against you, and we will not bring to light your previous dubious deals with the governor. If you do not, one of two things will happen. You will either be shot in the next few minutes and your body dumped in the middle of nowhere, or, after a trial for murder, you will be ignominiously hanged. The voice stopped.
Do you know that Nigeria has interesting book and art festivals and that this is the season for two of the biggest in the country? Coming up first is the Lagos Book and Art Festival, LABAF, which starts fully on the 10th of November and will run till the 13th of November at Freedom Park, Lagos Island, Lagos. The festival, which is the longest running in Nigeria, is on to its 18th edition this year, and the 2016 theme is The Terror of Knowledge, which is largely drawn from a quote by Nobel Prize winner Professor Wole Soyinka. Books and all forms of writing are terror to those who wish to suppress the truth. Immediately after LABAF is the Eke Arts and Book Festival, a fast-growing international annual festival that holds in the beautiful city of Abeokuta, Ogun State, southwest of Nigeria. This year's dates for Eke are 15th to 19th of November, and the theme is Beneath This Skin. These two book and art festivals offer great opportunities to glean from and enjoy authors, publishers, poets, dancers, illustrators, musicians, and artists. They are Nigeria's equivalent of some of the most popular book and art festivals all over the world. I hope we'll get to see you there.